A man with a six-figure salary declared bankruptcy last year. Same week, a shopkeeper 2 blocks from him, making a fraction of that income, quietly crossed $1 million in net worth. Nobody threw him a party, no LinkedIn post. He just kept making the same 10 decisions over and over for 22 years, while everyone around him chased the next hot thing. That's the part nobody tells you about wealth. It's not built in the moments people talk about. The raise, the bonus, the lucky stock pick. It's built in the boring 5 seconds before a decision, the ones nobody's watching. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which 5 seconds matter. Because I'm going to walk you through the 10 decisions that separate people who stay rich from people who just look rich for a while. One of these decisions will probably make you uncomfortable. Another one contradicts almost everything financial influencers tell you to do at your age. And there's one mistake sitting quietly in the middle of this list that has quietly wiped out more inheritances than divorce, addiction, and bad investments combined. I'll get to it. But first, let's start with the decision that comes before all the others, because if you get this one wrong, nothing else on this list will save you. Decision number 1 is deciding what rich actually means to you in writing before you make another dollar. Sounds soft. It isn't. Most people never define it, so their brain quietly borrows a definition from Instagram, from the neighbor's driveway, from the guy at work who leases a car he can't afford. Psychologists call this the reference point problem. We don't measure wealth against our own life. We measure it against whoever's closest to us. Morgan Housel wrote about this in The Psychology of Money, and one line from that book has stuck with me for years. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the car not bought, the vacation postponed, the upgrade skipped. The moment you write down your own number, the actual dollar figure that would let you sleep peacefully for the rest of your life. You stop playing a game designed by advertisers. You start playing your own game. And that changes every decision after this one. Which brings us to something most people get backwards in their 20s and 30s. They think the goal is to earn more. It isn't. The goal is to widen the gap between what you earn and what you spend, and keep widening it on purpose every single year. I want you to picture 2 friends. Both make $80,000 a year. One of them gets a raise and immediately upgrades his apartment, his car, his weekend plans. His lifestyle expands to swallow the raise whole before the first paycheck even lands. The other one gets the same raise and doesn't change a single visible thing about his life. Same apartment. Same car. The only thing that changed is a number in an account nobody else can see. 10 years later, one of them is still explaining why he's about to get ahead soon. The other one is quietly a millionaire and still driving the same car because he never let his lifestyle catch up to his income. This isn't about deprivation, it's about sequencing. Let your savings rate grow faster than your comfort, and comfort will eventually come find you, permanently instead of on a monthly lease. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable because decision 3 is going to sound like the opposite of everything you've been told. You need debt. Not the kind that buys you a boat, the kind that buys you an asset that pays you back. There's a difference between debt that makes you poor every month and debt that makes you richer every month. And most people never learn to tell them apart because their parents just said, debt bad, and left it there. A mortgage on a rental property that cash flows $200 a month after every expense isn't a burden. It's an employee that works while you sleep. A car loan on a vehicle that loses 40% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot is the opposite. Same word, opposite direction. The decision isn't debt or no debt. The decision is, does this loan put money in my pocket every month, or does it take money out? Answer that question honestly before you sign anything, and you'll avoid 90% of the debt traps that quietly drain people in their 30s and 40s. I promised you I'd come back to that mistake. The one that's quietly wiped out more family wealth than almost anything else. Here it is. It's not lack of insurance. It's not bad investments. It's silence. Families that build wealth and never talk about money openly with their kids almost always lose it within 2 generations. There's actual research behind this. Study after study on generational wealth transfer shows that roughly 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, and nearly 90% lose it by the third. Not because the money ran out on its own, because nobody taught the next person how to think about money, only how to spend it. If you're building something right now, the most protective decision you can make isn't a better portfolio. It's a dinner table conversation. Talk about money with the people who'll inherit yours before you're not around to explain it. Let's talk about the account most people don't even know they need until the exact week they need it most. Call it whatever you want: emergency fund, safety net, oh no money. 3 to 6 months of expenses, sitting somewhere boring, earning almost nothing, doing almost nothing, feeling like a waste, right up until the day your car transmission dies the same month your company does layoffs. That's decision 5. And here's the part that gets missed. This fund isn't there to make you money. It's there to remove the panic that makes people make terrible financial decisions. Panic is expensive. Panic is what makes a smart person cash out a retirement account at the worst possible moment, or take a payday loan at 400% interest because there was no buffer. The fund's job isn't growth. Its job is silence. It buys you the calm to think clearly when everything around you is on fire. If you don't have one yet, that's not a confession, that's just where the video found you. Keep watching, because the next decision is the one that made the biggest difference in my own life, and it costs nothing to start. Decision 6 is deciding, in advance, what you'll do the moment money shows up unexpectedly. A bonus, a tax refund, a side hustle payment. Most people don't decide this ahead of time, which means the decision gets made in the moment, standing in a store with a credit card already halfway out of the wallet. The people who build lasting wealth make this decision when they're calm, not when they're excited. Something like 50% goes to the future, 30% clears any lingering debt, 20% is guilt-free spending, spent on purpose, enjoyed fully. Notice that last part. This isn't about never spending. Depriving yourself completely doesn't build wealth. It builds resentment, and resentment eventually explodes into one giant, regret-soaked purchase that undoes 6 months of discipline in an afternoon. The goal is a rule that survives contact with excitement. Decide it now while you're calm, so future. You doesn't have to negotiate with a dopamine hit standing in line at checkout. Here's a reframe that might sting a little, so brace for it. Your biggest wealth risk probably isn't the stock market. It's your own body. Decision 7 is protecting your ability to earn before you protect anything else, because every single financial strategy on this list assumes one thing: that you can keep showing up and generating income. A disability, a serious illness, a burnout collapse at 38 that takes you out of work for a year, these erase portfolios faster than any crash ever could. And almost nobody plans for it because it feels like something that happens to other people, right up until it doesn't. This means disability insurance sooner than you think you need it. It means the sleep, the checkups, the boring maintenance of a body that is, whether you like the phrase or not, your primary income-generating asset. Protect the machine before you protect the money the machine produces. Now let's talk about the decision that quietly separates people who retire early from people who work until 72 out of necessity, not choice. It's not the return on your investments. It's the years your money spends invested, doing nothing else, compounding in silence. There's a number worth knowing here: the rule of 72. Divide 72 by your annual return, and that's roughly how many years it takes your money to double. At a steady 8%, that's about 9 years, which means money invested at 25 doubles roughly 4 times before you're 61. Money invested at 35 only gets 2, maybe 3 doublings in that same window. Same effort, same discipline. Wildly different outcome purely because of when the clock started. This is the one decision on this list where waiting even a single extra year has a real, measurable, permanent cost. And it's also the one decision most 25 to 35-year-olds keep postponing, because there's always something that feels more urgent than a future that's still decades away. Decision 9 is smaller in effort but massive in consequence, and it's the one people find the most boring. which is exactly why it works so well on them. Automate it. Every decision on this list, from the savings rate to the investing to the emergency fund, works exponentially better the moment it stops depending on your willpower and starts depending on a system. Willpower is a finite resource that gets weaker every time life gets stressful, which is exactly when your finances need it most. Automation doesn't get tired. It doesn't have a bad week. It doesn't see a sale and rationalize an exception. Set it up once while you're motivated and thinking clearly, and let the system carry the weight on the days your motivation doesn't show up. And the 10th decision, the one that ties every other one together, protect your peace as fiercely as you protect your portfolio. Money that cost you your sleep, your marriage, your health, isn't wealth. It's just debt with better PR. I've watched people hit every number on their spreadsheet and still feel poor because somewhere along the way, the goal quietly shifted from freedom to comparison. And comparison is a game that never, ever ends, no matter how much you win. Here's the truth nobody puts in the thumbnail. Wealth was never really about the number. It's about the version of you that gets to stop flinching every time the phone rings, stop calculating in the grocery store, stop lying awake doing math at 1 a.m. The shopkeeper I mentioned at the start didn't build $1 million. He built 10 quiet decisions, repeated for 22 years until they became who he was. You don't need a better income to start. You need to make one of these 10 decisions today, on purpose, while you're calm. And let it compound in silence the same way his did. If this video added value to your day, hit like, share it with your loved ones who need this, and subscribe for more insights. I'll see you in the next one.